So this is the continuation of my previous lecture on tunneling, and in the last lecture we had studied some excavation methods like the drift method or the heading and benching method, full profile method. In this we will be learning needle beam method. Now the methods that we learned in our previous lecture, they were more suitable for hard rocks where we could excavate the roof and still it will hold by itself, the rocks will not collapse inside. But there are some times where we have to do tunneling through soft rocks as well. Now soft rocks are weaker rocks, and generally if you excavate the profile of the tunnel entirely, the rocks above which are putting pressure on this, they will not able to sustain and they will collapse inside. So we have to be very careful while doing the tunneling in these soft rocks, and one of the methods that is devised for this is called as needle beam method. Now what is done exactly in needle beam method is that a small hole is done, a small drift of size about 1 by 1 is prepared on the working face of the tunnel. This is called as needle beam. It is basically made up of channels. Now two channel section, if you know, then our Indian standard steel section, rolled steel sections, they have different types or different shapes of sections. First is this I shape is there. Okay, then C shape is there. Then angle is there. So this is called as I section, C section and angle section. What we are using here is C section, and we are using two C sections like this. This arrangement is called as back to back, because this is the back of the channel, so they are facing back to back, and in between we have a wooden material. The way how we show wooden material is like this. This is how wooden material is generally shown. So this is our needle beam. On top of the needle beam we will be placing jacks. So as you can see here, jacks are placed on top of the needle beam, and to support the roof we will be putting something called as lagging. This lagging is used to support that soft rock so that it does not collapse, and to support this lagging, this jack is provided. So as you can see here in this cross section, there is this lagging here. Lagging is a material that we use to support the roof, and this lagging is then supported by these jacks. So there are three jacks which are like this, and it will not allow the lagging to fall down. So this is how we do this. Now in this cross section, in this diagram, what is shown is this is that 1 by 1 meter of drift, 1 by 1 meter of drift, and it is generally done in the heading part. Then the benching is also done, and this is the fully excavated profile of your rock. And here to support the needle beam we have this thick post. So exactly what we are doing is, if we are having a circular tunnel to be excavated, first we will be excavating a small drift of 1 by 1 meter at the top, and let us say that this much part was already excavated. So in this we will be putting this needle beam like this. I'll just roughly draw it, and this needle beam would be supported here. Alright, so that is just a rough sketch. The jack is placed on the top of the needle beam to support the roof with lagging, and then drift is widened sideways and the whole section is excavated. So when this jack is then attached here, then you can widen your drift, and then the whole section can be excavated. As what I told you, a lining is provided here. That lining can be done by shotcreting as well. We had seen in our previous lectures what shotcreting is. So shortcutting can be used for doing this lining part. Next, and the very important and one of the modern ways of excavation is tunnel boring machine. It is also called as a mole. A mole is basically an insect which digs through the soil, and same is this machine's purpose as well. It is a single machine which does everything. It excavates and it also carries the muck to the posterior part of it. So this is a relatively modern method of tunneling and is used to excavate circular tunnels. They can bore anything from hard rock to sand. These machines are really versatile, and if you get a chance to see them in Mumbai as well, there is a lot of metro work which is going on. So a lot of tunnels are being done there. There also they are using this equipment, and almost all the modern tunneling works, this equipment is used. You can check it on the internet. You will get a lot of information regarding this. Now the advantage is that they can excavate at a much faster rate compared to any other method. The operation is continuous and there is a greater safety of workers maintained. So these tunnel boring machines, they can move faster than any method that we learned till now, and there is also greater safety involved. The disadvantage of this tunnel is that it is very expensive, first of all, and then they cannot move backwards. So many a times what happens is these tunnel boring machines get stuck inside, as what can happen with any machine. And this is also a machine and it also gets stuck sometimes. And when it gets stuck, like if it is moving forward while excavating, that same motion cannot be done backwards. So it cannot come behind. Then you have to do a lot of work. You have to sometimes also dismantle this entire part, and then it takes a lot of time for getting it out of that situation. So that is the one of the disadvantages of this, but it is fine. It saves a lot of time as well. Now coming on to the geological consideration in tunneling. First is lithology. What lithology determines is, first of all, it will determine what method of tunneling we have to use. So a lithology means what kind of rock we are expecting to tunnel through, if it is a soft rock, if it is a hard rock, if folding is there, or stressed area is there. In generally in folding we see that there is a stressed area. So which type of tunneling should we use for that part? Then the strength of rock. Is it a hard rock? Is it a soft rock? And finally the cost of project. So usually if there are more complications there during the tunneling, then it will definitely lead to higher cost of projects. And the project that I was working on for it was a hydroelectric power plant project, and the cost of that was almost around 980 crores. So yeah, they do have a lot of cost involved in them. Second point is geological structures. In this we have two cases. First is when the tunnel axis is parallel to the dip direction. I should write here the dip direction. Okay, and the second option is tunnel axis parallel to strike direction. So let us see this first one, tunnel axis parallel to dip direction. This is the dip direction. This is that dip direction this way, and if a tunnel axis, which is also like this, is parallel to it, then it is considered to be a good option. Now why? Because you can see that these this much part, or I would say this much, let us say that this much part would be acting like an arch beam, and it will support all the load that is coming from top. So all the load that is coming on top of this type of structure will be this tunnel can hold it much easily because of this arch action of the beams. So these almost act like beams on top of the, built on top of the tunnel. So natural beams built on top of the tunnels. Here also you can see them very clearly. So this can be considered as a natural beam. So this is a very best option if the tunnel axis is parallel to parallel to dip direction. The strike of the rock act like natural beams inside the tunnels, and the very important arch action is possible for load dissipation. So whenever the load comes, the load is dissipated by arch action. Same way here also, as you can see here, the dip has got some angle. Here the dip is almost vertical. So this is a good option if the joints between bedding planes are intact and every bedding plane is strong, then each will act as a sturdy frame around the tunnel. So if the joints between these bedding planes, if they are good enough, then this can hold properly. But if that bedding plane joints is not good, then what will happen? Individually it will fail, right? So that care is to be taken. Therefore, it can be considered as a good option. Second case, tunnel axis parallel to strike direction again. So this is the strike direction and this is our tunnel axis. If this is the case, what will happen? This is a bad option. In this case, the bedding plane interface of some rocks run through the axis of the tunnel, and that of some rocks is outside the periphery. This induces unsymmetrical pressure distribution. There is also chances of sliding of bedding plane. So this bedding plane which is here, it can directly slide down like this due to the pressure that is coming on top of it. And since it is inclined, there is a little bit chance, because then the force would be resolved into vertical and horizontal component. But there is a chance of sliding in. And in this case, when the dip is almost vertical and the tunnel axis is parallel to strike, what we can see, it can directly fail. So this is the worst option. Arch action of the tunnel gets very weak and the chances of sliding increases. This is like if I have to give you an example, this is like in your house you are building beam which is broken from all the places. So would you feel safe to be in such a house where the beam is broken from all the places? No, naturally no, right? So this is almost a similar case to that. And the next is when we are tunneling through folds. What will happen when we are tunneling through folds? This is an anticline. The first thing that will happen is that we'll have to encounter different rocks, different series of rocks as we are tunneling, as we are progressing ahead. Second thing that happens is the load that is coming on this anticline, due to arch action, this load is dissipated downwards. So the outer limb is under a very high pressure. Here it is under a very high pressure, and inner limbs are generally under low pressures, and the outer limb, obviously due to its high curvature, is therefore under high pressure, and the inner limb is at lower pressure. And this is when we encounter a tunnel in anticline. But when we encounter a tunnel in syncline, the reverse takes place. The load that is coming from top of this, it is all coming down here at this point, at the crest or the trough, sorry. So in this, what we have is, we have high pressure down here and considerably lower pressure on up above this. So this is the condition for tunneling in a syncline. Therefore you will have to take care while excavating, and you have to generally take into consideration that how much those rocks are strained and what problems they can cause, whether they can snap and break inside, or everything has to be taken into consideration. So that's it for this lecture. And this completes your syllabus for Earth Science.